This is like the hardest part of the podcast because
Right.
I don't want to put people in boxes. I hate putting people in boxes. I don't want to say you're one thing and you do so much more because you do.
Mm-hmm.
So I know for one, you're a brand manager, talent manager, philanthropist. Yeah, I saw some throwback stuff for that.
Okay.
All right.
Nice.
Anything else I'm missing?
Yes. So I am a talent and brand manager.
Yeah.
That's correct. I also do philanthropy work. That is also correct. But what a lot of people don't know is that I have a very strong background in, I guess, the live event production space and also in TV and film. A big part of my career started in that space. It was kind of simultaneously with that. So live event production, TV and film production. I also direct and produce content. And then what some people don't know as well is that I started in the music business. So I actually work for labels in the management space, but also marketing, promotions, digital strategy, that stuff.
So see, that's why it's the hardest part. I was way off.
I am an entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur, and I don't even think that's the word. I think it's I don't think they came up with the word yet. But
a Renaissance woman.
I like that better. That sounds better.
I'm a Renaissance woman.
So let me introduce you. We have Joy Young, right?
Mm-hmm.
We got hand claps. Okay. But no, so where are you from?
So I'm originally, a lot of people don't know this, I'm originally from Houston, Texas.
I love Houston.
Originally from Houston. But I was raised in Louisiana, a small town called Plaisance, Louisiana. They're not necessarily on the map, so we have to say Opelousas. So that's how rural this place is where I'm from. So yeah, Louisiana.
And so, tell me what was that like growing up in a small town?
Growing up in a small town was very innocent because I didn't have to grow up. I always joke about the area where we live. So my mom lives on 2 acres of land, and I joke about the fact that you can look out of her window and see cows and horses and farm life in this big open space where like our pets roam like all day like they want to. Growing up, I didn't have to worry about violence.
Yeah.
You know, we went down the street, played down the street with the little boys. Not like that, but like I liked basketball. So I like to play basketball with the kids in the neighborhood. But my mom didn't have to worry about my safety. You know, like I would get off from school. I was in band, so band practice, and we have our own vehicle. So, I mean, I literally would leave school, go to the park, hang out with my friends. I probably wouldn't come home till, this is high school, guys. I probably wouldn't come home till like 8, 9 o'clock. Okay. But she didn't worry. She didn't have to worry about my safety.
And so going back like to your childhood, like what was 10-year-old Joy like?
10-year-old Joy, that's what, the 5th grade or something like that?
Don't give me the line. I don't know.
I'm still a nerd, very educated, but I was a nerd in middle school, high school. I actually graduated valedictorian of my middle school. So 10-year-old Joy was very obsessed with making all A's, obsessed with music. So I'm a musician as well. That's another fun fact. I play flute and piccolo. I'm professionally trained. So at that age, I was obsessed with band. I wanted to play violin, but the school didn't have that because it's a small school. So they were like, okay, well, you can play the flute. And so that's where I started, you know, my love for music in 4th and 5th grade, playing instruments.
And so there, did you have, because coming from a small town, I would imagine that were you exposed to a lot, or like did you have any idea of? I
was not exposed to a lot. Actually, and I guess this can tap into what I chose to do as a career. So being that I was, you know, making all A's and B's and I excelled in school, I initially wanted to be a pediatrician. I was obsessed with medicine, science. One of my favorites stores was Discovery Channel store. So I would always ask for educational games and stethoscopes, microscopes, and that's the store I wanted to go to. Up until my freshman year in high school when 106 in Park started. And I saw that show. And, you know, I had a love for music anyway. And I always listened to music. So when I saw the show, I think that was, I guess you can say now looking back that was my first first impression of another career that I had no idea about. So seeing that show, seeing, AJ Free talking to artists for a living and production and, throwing in music videos and just enjoying music like that. And I was like, what is this? Is this a job? Getting paid for this? Yeah. So I was like, bump that medicine stuff. Yeah. Like, this is what I want to do. And it totally changed the trajectory of my mindset when it came to like what I wanted to do for a career. Yeah. So at that point, I literally stalked out AJ and Free online. I was like, okay, where did they go to school? What did they study? How can I do that at the school where I wanted to go to, because I wanted to go to Southern University. Shout out to the Human Jukebox.
We'll
because,
get to that.
Shout out to the Human Jukebox. I wasn't going anywhere else. So I was like, okay, what can I study at this university that put me in that direction? And after that, after I did my research, I was like, okay, bet. After that, I had everybody in high school calling me the next Miss 106 in Park, because I was that serious about it. So that pretty much changed my life. Like that one show changed my life.
And so were there anybody telling you like, yo, that's crazy?
Absolutely. Even my mother, shout out to Mom Dukes, but she did not want me to pursue that. She didn't think it was a real career. Because after that, I used to always say, I'm moving to New York. Yeah. It's the first chance I get. And she would get so upset. Like, why are you moving way over there? You don't need to tourist attacks and all that. Because, that was around the same time 9/11 happened. She was like, you don't need to be going there. But I was like, I'm out of here. Right. What do you mean? So.
I think that's dope, because I come from a small town, too. And I think I always admire people that are able to just ignore what people say or ignore the norm. Did you see anybody else leave? And
Absolutely not. I'm the only one in my family that works in this industry.
And
there was no other example.
So your mom still lives?
My mom, still lives in that same house I grew up in, on that same lot of land. She is an educator. She's retired now, but she started out her career as an accountant for Exxon. And then, when she met my dad, moved back to Louisiana, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, she became a school teacher and got her master's in special education. So she's been an educator her entire life. So that was my example.
I'm pretty sure she was looking at you crazy.
Absolutely. But I mean, at the end of the day, I kind of think she too had big dreams. Yeah. Because in school she was heavy into like theater and drama, and then life happened. She got pregnant with my sister at 20, and so her responsibilities and priorities changed.
And I see that a lot too. Like even my parents, like everybody starts off with like huge dreams, and then, like just something happens to where it's like, okay, I gotta eat, so I gotta do this to survive.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Yeah. And so,
thankfully, I haven't been caught up in any of that.
Yeah. And so, like, what do you think it is? Did you like pay attention? You were just so focused to.
I have an A-type personality. So when I put my mind to it, that's it. Like, I'm going after that. That was the career, even with band. You said we'll get to that. Even with that, everything that once I make a decision, like it snaps on, it's like, that's it. That tunnel vision after that.
And so in high school, so going up to, you were still making straight A's in high school?
I wouldn't say straight A's, but I graduated number 5 in my class. So A's and B's, I guess.
Nothing's wrong with that. And so you said you always had your mindset to go to Southern. Mm-hmm. Why? Why did you want to go to Southern?
So Southern is very near and dear to my heart because I was basically raised on that campus. I guess you could say I'm a legacy. Yeah. My entire family went to Southern University. My mom, my dad, my sisters, my aunts. I still have cousins now that attend. I have cousins who are professors there. My blood it runs deep in Southern University. So that was the first thing. And then, there's a big HBCU culture, but with the Bayou Classics and stuff like that. So every Thanksgiving we're in New Orleans, and my aunt lived in New Orleans at the time. So every Thanksgiving we're in New Orleans experiencing Bayou Classic, and I'm like knee high to a teenager, all of that. So I grew up in that. But at the age of 9, also, when I saw, I guess you could say I experienced the band for the first time. Yeah. And to that point of being tunnel visioned, I asked my mom, I was like, what is that? Yeah. That looks like so much fun. Yeah. I literally remember asking my mom, what do I need to do to be in that organization? And she was just like, you have to get an instrument, you have to enroll in band at school, and you have to practice hard. So at that very moment, I enrolled in, like, you know, in the 4th, 5th grade, you have a decision. You can either take PE,
right.
band, or foreign language.
Right.
I was like, I want band. Yeah. And then when I got in there, I was so competitive. Like, the HBCU band culture is really competitive.
That's what I hear. Even
from middle school. So even in middle school, I would practice every day. I would participate in the honors band, getting first chair. I got so good to the point to where I was in 7th and 8th grade marching in the high school band. And then once I got to high school, you still do the honor band stuff, but I wanted to go to Southern University's band camps. So I started going to the camps. And then now you're having like the best of the best in the state and probably nationally in these camps competing just to compete with each other. And then they started Louisiana Leadership Institute, which was like all of the top players in the state. And the Southern University band director eventually directed that band. So I was determined. It's like athletics, right?
I see.
It's like athletics. They're drafting players. Yeah. So once I got into LLI and the band director saw my skill set, it was a done deal after that. Because to get into Southern, I'm not sure how it is at other universities. You have to audition.
So it's really like Drumline, like the movie.
Yeah, I can't speak for any other school. I can only speak for Southern. You have to audition. And because the band director already knew my skill set, it was just a formality after that. So I auditioned. But this weird history about Southern. Shout out to Dr. Greggs, rest his soul. But he only allowed so many females in the band at one time. So when I got to Southern my freshman year, there were only 4 piccolos allowed. And I had 2 red shirts, quote unquote, because there weren't any other spaces left. So I eventually got into the band my sophomore year in college.
And so did you feel, man, that's a lot. We got to unpack that. So did you feel, did you have any like anxiety going into college? Or
I was so confident. I can't remember ever being nervous because I trained and I was prepared and I knew expectations were managed because my middle school and high school band directors also went to Southern. So it was like a complete pedigree experience. Mm-hmm. I knew exactly what to expect. Going to the band camps, I knew exactly the processes, procedures, protocols. I was prepared. Like, we are prepared for that experience. So I was not nervous at all.
And so where do you think first, do you think that has kind of helped you now, like in your career?
Absolutely. Now? Like, I encourage kids, high school kids, middle school kids to get into